Let's take a look at John Hagee's endorsement of McCain.
In the matter of immigration, John McCain has pledged to secure the borders of the United States first. No immigration policy will work until our borders are secure. John McCain's position on the war in Iraq was right from day one. He supported our troops by encouraging them to stay the course. John McCain has stated he will appoint conservative judges who will follow the Constitution of the United States, not rewrite the law from the bench. John McCain has pledged to veto any bill that has a pork barrel clip-on attached. He will support the Bush tax cuts.
Now, Mickey, take what John Hagee said, take him as a serious man, take John McCain standing there welcoming his endorsement, take what you said about conservatives owing their inspiration to the Constitution with limited government and personal liberties.
Right.
Where then, listening to that, does John McCain stand in the evolution or in the reclaiming of conservatism, which is your mission in life?
You know, back in the days when Goldwater and Reagan was coming in as a Goldwater supporter, you know, and I was there, and we were putting this modern conservative movement together. Nobody would have thought to ask any John Hagee what he thought about any of it. You know, he would simply not have been something we would have done. And for McCain, it's just like his meeting with Bush. For McCain to allow himself now to be wrapped in the embrace of people like that, you know, I think is going to seriously damage him in the fall, because he is undercutting the very image that he so carefully cultivated, you know, and I'm not sure which is real, because I'm not sure that his maverick image or his independent straight talk image was always completely accurate, and I attacked it from time to time. But I think that he's making a serious mistake in terms of how he frames his persona for the general election. I don't think this country is ready for a continuation of Bush, and I don't think it's ready for a Hagee-approved, Hagee-endorsed presidency. And why he's doing that, I don't know.
Let me ask both of you. I want to hear what both of you say about this. At what stage do you think conservatives became Republicans first and conservatives second?
I think it was in the Richard Nixon presidency. Up until that moment, conservatives had been the biggest critics of the Imperial presidency. They were the biggest critics of the way executive power was abused by John F. Kennedy, by Lyndon Johnson, by FDR before them. They saw executive power as this aggrandizement of power in the federal government that was used against individuals. But when Richard Nixon was abusing that power, and he was attacked by the press, who conservatives have always hated, and Democrats, who the conservatives have always hated, they rallied around him. And there was a flipping that happened then. Ever since then, and Dick Cheney was a big part of it, and Donald Rumsfeld, because they were there in the Ford administration when the reformist Democratic Congress started passing these limits on executive power. Ever since then, restoring the power of the executive has been a fundamental part of modern republicanism, which went totally against their tradition. And as part of that, John McCain, actually one of the only philosophies that he elucidates in his books, his 5 books that he's written, is to restore executive power at the expense of Congress, especially when it comes to foreign policy and the making of war. It is basically the only interest that he shows in political philosophy in his books.
What's your answer to your own question about at what point?
Well, I agree with Matt that was a part of it. It certainly had an effect. But more than that, while I was in the House, Newt Gingrich sort of rose in power. And Newt decided that the purpose of the Republicans in Congress was not to carry out the fundamental principles that they had originally believed in, but to defeat Democrats. That was all that mattered. And it became, how do you, it's always war, Democrats versus Republicans all the time. And when you look at it from that mindset, you have a Republican president. You know, he is not anymore the head of a different branch of government. He's your team captain. He's your quarterback. And so Gingrich really created a system of nonstop warfare that went well beyond, you know, what the situation was with Nixon, and institutionalized it to an extent that today, when the Congress properly tries to vote a contempt citation against 2 people on the White House staff, Harriet Moyers and Josh Bolten, you know, who defy a congressional subpoena, and Republicans in Congress walk out in protest rather than engage in defending the branch of government that they're a part of. So, I put a lot of the blame right on Newt Gingrich. I think he led to a lot of this.